Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Forward Under the Stars, an update. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this thing yet. This might be a bug hunt, it may be something else, but you guys may have been wondering where I've been. I have had a crazy end of last year and beginning of this year. I actually got hospitalized. That was not fun at all, so I had a pretty nasty thing happen to me, and so I've been pretty much out of it at the beginning of the year and been playing catch up, but that's not to say nothing has gotten done on the game. Actually, quite a bit has gotten done on the game, and I'm really excited to show you guys what's going on. I'm on keyboard and mouse today, so I'm sorry if I give you guys some motion sickness. I'll try to curb that, but I can't help myself. Anyway, the entire game has been under the hood recreated to allow for a new spatial system, which is probably one of the biggest features right now. And that is awesome because it allows us to seamlessly traverse all sorts of space. Every nook and cranny in the solar system is accessible now, and that didn't used to be the case. So that actually is going to open up a lot of avenues for some pretty cool things. I'm not going to get too much into that because it's kind of technical and weird. But you're going to notice as we play that some things just are different, like how we access key locations and things like that. It's affected a lot of the gameplay, and for the better. It's really awesome, and if all goes according to plan, I'm going to show you guys something really cool later on. So it involves planets, so be ready for that. Don't get too excited, though. I've had a lot of stuff to do, and visual qualities and things like that have very much suffered because I just haven't had the time to work on them yet. But consider it a taste of the future. So there's also, as you can hear right now, there's music playing, and astute listeners will notice that's not my music. That's actually from Wing Commander Privateer. If you're an old guy like me, you probably remember that game. It's actually a full-blown music director. So as things happen in the game, the music's actually going to change to try to reflect the current context of the scene. We also have fancier projectiles now. This is nice. When I fire at things, I didn't like the big elongated spheres. They looked really stupid. So now we've got these, which I think look a lot better. Various projectiles exist within the game now, and there's actually, I was going to say 2 new weapons. You're kind of looking at one right now, but this is actually an older weapon that I've reintroduced. But there is another weapon that's pretty cool, and we'll probably get to play a little bit with that later on. And let me see, what else do we have here? We got a new docking system, and I'm not going to show you guys that right now because I'll be kind of showcasing something a little later, and we'll kind of address that then. But the new docking system is spatially aware. It's no longer, hey, you're close enough to the ship, therefore you can dock or anything like that. Now there are actual docking points on the ship, and you have to interact with those. Just to make it a little bit more realistic. It's, again, very rudimentary. I want to create animations for the docking systems and all that kind of stuff, but it's at least a step in the right direction. It gives you an idea what I'm going for. We're also got formations, which are, again, I got a lot of new features, and all of it's cool, but definitely needs some tweaking. And formations also need tweaking, but if we go here, we should have a Fenrir frigate, and he's floating around somewhere. We'll find them at some place. But anyways, we'll come back to formations once the Fenrir shows up. And you'll get to see how that works. That actually ends up looking really cool in some cases. I've done some big fights, and having your team in formation during a battle just looks really awesome. It's also incredibly terrifying when you jump into a system and a formated fleet of frigates come to identify you. And you're just thinking to yourself, I hope they're friends. We also have some new skinning going on with the ships. I believe I showed you guys that the Cecropia drop ships could actually be skinned. I have some variants going on. The Scythe Fighters now can also be skinned, and I learned a really cool way of doing that, so that'll be pretty cool. I also have added, let's see, commander names. Why is that in my notes? Anyway, Oh, I know what that means. Okay, yeah, you may have noticed when I look over a terse object right now, like we have this space station over here, it says Keith Whitney, and over here we have Victor Murdoch. This is part of the persistent system, and I'm going to be adding things. For instance, our Fenrir frigate captain is James Leon. It's all done via a random name generator, and these are characters that will be created, and they're just going to be populated throughout the galaxy, I guess, or the gaming universe. And most of these characters are going to be very expendable, but along the way, you're going to run into very important characters. And my scripting backend actually allows you to create characters on the fly. We also have a new event system in place that allows us to create, like, anything, basically. It's a generalized event system, and effectively it will more or less... I'm not going to say it's going to replace the behavior system. I think that's taking things a little too far because the behavior system is very necessary right now, but it will allow me to fire off various generalized events throughout the game at important points during the gameplay. In fact, you'll be able to create, if you want to script the game yourself, you'll be able to create game starts, which will allow you to define events, characters, and all sorts of different things, and essentially build out your world however you see fit. So if you want to create a story within the game start system plus the events plus something else called facts, which I'll get into in a second, all these things will allow you to build and populate your world with characters, create missions, all sorts of fun stuff, and build lore into your game as well. So I'm really hoping that turns out well. And yeah, let's see. We've got the fax system. I'm gonna talk to them, and I'll show you one more cool feature, and then we'll get going and actually take this thing for a spin. The fax feature works very similar or in hand with the event system and fax and the game starts. And facts allow you to define information about your universe. So, persistent information, I should say. So what you would do is you would create a fact, which is just a grouping of things or information. And then as things occur throughout the game, such as events fire off or the player interacting with something or someone, you can read and store facts pertaining to those situations. And in that way, you can actually allow it to where one situation can look up a fact for another situation and maybe change how it plays out based off prior history or prior events. So that I'm really excited about as well. And then finally, the last thing that I want to show you guys or talk about, and I'll show you while we're at it, is boom, we have proper external views. Also a work in progress. They work okay. One of the problems that I don't like about it, well, there's actually two problems. One is the center mount is based on the bridge right now, and that's really awkward. So if I'm firing and things like that, well, I can't fire because here we go. Okay, so if I'm firing, it's hard to see what the heck I'm shooting at. So I need to adjust that. But the biggest thing, and more serious problem, is when I turn, you'll notice that the camera is bound to the ship. I find this incredibly frustrating. And, oh, hey, formation flight, there we go. So, yeah, I find it really frustrating because as we move around, it kind of gets a little nauseating almost. I don't know. I just think that could be better. But I figure I really wanted the game to be played from a first-person perspective, but I really kind of enjoy the external perspective a lot. So as you can see, Terse is fully accessible from here. You can give orders and things. By the way, this has been revamped a bit. And you can access your logs, which are here. Not a whole lot going on there, but basically what I'm getting at is if you want to play a large portion of the game in external view because you just prefer it, you have that option now. This is a thing that I actually disliked about certain other space games, one in particular that I love the game, but I found it really awkward that you're in third person, able to see a whole bunch of stuff, and being able to command your fleets and issue orders and stuff like that was incredibly frustrating. You had to switch out of external view and into a menu, and it was just a pain in the rear, and I really wanted to avoid that. So I decided to do a full incorporation of the Terse system, so you have full access to your command menu, and we could, for instance, I don't want to do that. Let's just send this frigate to escort that target. And now he's going to pull off and go and do his thing. And there is a menu, but it's the context menu. I don't really mind that so much because it's just boom, boom, done. You know, it doesn't really get in the way too much, and it's based off what I'm looking at, so I'm not like completely pulled out of the game. And that's something to keep, that if you guys have any feedback for, let me know. When I press E, I have this darkening going on in the background. You can still kind of see what's going on. I wanted that just because it made this system or this menu pop. But if you feel that takes too much from the game itself, let me know. I personally like this just because sometimes it can be a little hard to read menu items when you have game objects moving around in the background. Another option is we can just dim this differently so it's not quite as dark. That probably wouldn't be such a bad idea. But anyway, yeah, just things to think about. For now, though, we're going to grab our Fenrir, and we're going to have him re-engage us, and we are going to have a little bit of fun here, utilizing some systems. So I don't have it. You may have noticed that if I hit F1, I've got this terrible little development thing. So it's basically development start. You're probably going to be disappointed if you're playing this, and for the most part, that's pretty true. However, I threw together a little bit of lore for this particular situation just to make it kind of fun. We have been hired to go throughout Hudson Prospect and take out any syndicate who might be trying to set up shop in the area. And that's another thing, is we now have basically sub-key locations. Right now they're just showing up as primary locations, but that will change in the future. So as you can see, I'm gonna do a quick turn real quick so you can see how the formations work. He pretty much tries to stay with me. He will always stay in that spot, so if I were to turn like this way, you'll see he ends up on my other side. I would like to have... We'll see how this plays out, but I think it would be pretty cool if I could have like actual formation spots that are relative to the formation leader, and be able to do things that way. And in the future, in the future part of this video, you may see why that becomes practical. But for now, that looks pretty cool. But we are going to go, and we're not going to do them all because it's actually a really hard setup right now, and we're probably going to get ourselves killed. But we will go to one such sector, and that will be... We'll just do HP beta, I guess. So all I should have to do, and mind you, when I overhauled the spatial system, I had to rewrite a lot of the AI, the fly to routines, the moving routines, the turning to routines. All that stuff had to be revamped. So this might still be buggy. I've been trying to get all the little bits and pieces out of it that needed tweaking, but we're going to see what happens. We're going to go ahead and go to HP Beta, which is Hudson Prospect Beta. It is a sub-key location, and you may be wondering to yourself, why sub-key locations? Well, back to the spatial system, like I said, you are technically able to grab a short-range vehicle, such as a fighter or... oh, hold please. I also forgot to mention, I don't have a collision avoidance on. Hey, buddy, sorry about your luck. So because I've been throwing everything together, I had to turn collision avoidance off. So yeah, I'm gonna have to be a little careful about that. But anyway, what was I talking about? Whoops, that was not what I wanted to do. We wanted to go back to beta. Oh crud! I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, with the sub-location. So you could technically grab a fighter or a dropship, which is a short-range vehicle, point it at a planet on the other side of the solar system, hit your burners, and then come back a day or two, real-life day or two later, and you would be at that planet. You couldn't do that before. It used to throw you into Rift Space mode, but... well, maybe I should shut up because we're about to have some fun, and we're going to do this in external... Oh, why isn't he shooting back? Well, that's unfortunate. Usually they turn around and shoot back. Maybe we'll do another one to see if it's still working. Let me see that. Okay, we're good. But I have my music... Wanda Durham. Sorry, one of my good friends' last names is Durham, so I just blew up his relative. But anyway, yeah, I'm also testing to make sure, like, this stuff works. Oh gosh, that lighting system's really jacked up too, so definitely some things to work on. Definitely got to fix the lighting. Yeah, looks like we're coming in. This is fantastic. Alright, cool. So let's go ahead and we will then check out Alpha, since Beta wasn't a problem. But yeah, the other thing I'll notice is these sub-key locations aren't very far from the main hub, which in this case would be Hudson Prospect. That's intentional. So going back to the short-range vehicles, that basically amounts to you can hop in a short-range vehicle and fly in a reasonable amount of time from one sub-key location to the other. And I thought that might be kind of fun for just doing like patrols and stuff like that, especially early game if you end up in a game start where you just do not have access to a hyper or a rift space enabled ship. This would allow you to still have some fun flying from one key location to another. And yeah, so back to the spatial system too, you'll see all this stuff is popping up. This is in-game or in-instance geometry or objects, basically. And you saw that this unidentified target also did the same thing. Guessing, yeah, we popped in. Okay, this sometimes happens. I got to figure out some logic to deal with this. We may pop out of the system and then back in again. Yeah, I don't have the sound going right now because I don't have my headset available, and I didn't want to get bleed audio into my microphone. So, yeah, when it comes to like music and stuff like that, I'm hoping it's actually changing. Yeah, we just popped back into Rift Space, but we're going to turn around. This has been identified, so we shouldn't go back to it again. One of the simplest solutions may just be that if you own it, keep it identified, and then this won't happen. In that case. In other cases, not so much. So, I don't know. These are DARPA problems I feel like I'm dealing with. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to blow up whatever this is. And unfortunately, is this one turning to engage? Yeah, for some reason they're just not attacking. I must have broken something just before I did this. I had to fix one problem, and somehow using the powers of magic, because it was completely unrelated, it seems to have affected another thing. So whatever, we'll just shoot it. We got nothing better to do, but since two of these are broken, I'm going to assume the third one's broken too. So we'll just go ahead and drop a bomb on this guy. Another thing that doesn't seem to be working and I'm a little frustrated about is there's actually an additional weapon on this cruiser, and for some reason it is not firing off, and that's really unfortunate. But I'm not going to worry about it because there is another weapon just like it that we will have access to in a little bit. But first, we need to go to a place that isn't here. Test site's going to be close enough, so we're going to go ahead and... That was interesting. Why are we not moving? Did I... Oh, maybe I didn't... Oh, okay. I forgot to select who I wanted to go there. Alright, that's fine. But the good news is, it looks like formation flying is still working. The AI seems to be following correctly, which is unheard of. So it looks like I got that problem fixed. I literally, like 10 minutes before I started recording this video, did more tweaking on the following system. So it wouldn't surprise me if I got all the kinks out finally, but there's probably one or two still in there. We just haven't seen it yet. I'll be doing a lot of testing of this, believe me. But I just haven't put a video out in very long, and I just got super excited about some of the things I was doing. I'm actually really upset because there was one other thing that I really wanted to put into this video, and I just ran out of time because I'm going to have to cut this video up and do all sorts of fun stuff. So, yeah, and I will show you what that is in just a little bit. But first, we need to fly to Thebes. And I'm using Thebes. You can technically do this on all three of the planets in the system right now, but Thebes looks the coolest, so we're going to do it that way. I would really like to get to none of these places. There we are. That's what I wanted to get to. I want to get to Phoenix Landing is what I want to do. So, yeah, and this basically is showing the spatial system again, where like how we're able to interact with the subworlds, which basically aren't really a subworld anymore. The entire thing is basically a ginormous grid, and each grid represents a sector, and each sector has its own little world in it. And what ends up happening is, because I don't want to splice sectors and end up with these really weird visual artifacts, is the game figures out where the player is and then renders 3x3x3 sectors around the player. And so essentially you are in a giant three-dimensional waffle, and you can go anywhere in that waffle. It's a big waffle. There we go. And we're here. We're at Phoenix Landing, and you may have noticed that there's more detail on the ground. Admittedly, it's very tiled, but we're going to ignore that for now. Because, actually, I'm so glad I just realized I have the randomizer on, and we could have ended up in a really cruddy Phoenix Landing situation, but this is actually not a bad one. Hopefully, things don't break. So, there is a couple of features that I've been hiding right now. First and foremost, we'll go to the elephant in the room. I just said that you can fly anywhere you want inside the giant galactic waffle. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, the planets exist in the giant galactic waffle. And you would be correct in thinking that. So yes, you can in fact seamlessly travel from space to planetary surfaces now. That is now implemented, and I'm so happy about that. Also, where is... Oh, there you are. Look at that. Good job, James Leon. You are doing fine as a captain. I like to think that all my new captains right now are freshies, because they... they're still kind of getting the ropes of the new AI, but they're doing fine. I like that. So here we go, transfer to ship. And you may notice it says Scythe Fighter. I don't recall if I've ever flown a Scythe Fighter in a prior video. I'm going to go ahead and say no. In fact, I'm not even sure we've ever flown a Cecropia dropship before. But the docking system has changed, like I said, and so you kind of have to fly a fighter to see how it works. And behold, we have a fighter, and it's rudimentary, but it has a cockpit. And I'm pretty happy with it for the most part. There's definitely a lot to do, like there's no like stick and throttle and buttons and things like that in that area, but it's basically a good start out for what I'm looking for. So basically we can fly around inside of our little Scythe fighters. And remember how I was talking about variants? Well, guess what? We also, let me make sure I got the sunlight on us proper, or this is going to be really disappointing. We also have fighter variants. This used to be a green and white fighter, and I have colored it orange and black and white. And mainly because I like the Halloween color scheme. Can't help myself. I know. It's late February, but I don't care. So yeah, we can fly around in our wonderful Scythe fighters now, and they are a blast. Quite literally, because here's that extra weapon I was talking about. We've got missiles. And not only do we have missiles, but they are actually tracking missiles. Let's see if we can do that. So, come on, fire it. Okay, well, you'll have to take my word for it, but if I can get it in range, there we go. Yeah, see how they turn towards it? I don't know where those ones are going. Huh, okay, well, I got some tracking issues to deal with, but they do track, or at least they used to. So, yeah, that's going to be a ton of fun to play with. I do love the weapon systems, like how they're turning out. I also like the burst guns and all that stuff. Oh, that tracked right. Okay, well, I guess I got some tweaking to do. Guess this is a bug hunt after all. Alrighty, so anyway, you better believe the very next thing we are going to do is we are going to fly down to the planet. And again, it's very rudimentary, but we're going to do it anyway. And we've got two wingmen, or wingwomen it looks like. It's totally random, 50-50 chance. Alyssa Kinder and Sharon Eldridge. Cool. Alright, so they will be our wing ladies. And we are going to try to fly down to the planet, which may take a little while. And yes, you can still dock on stations. I think. Unless I broke that. Basically, though, the best way to put it is any feature that existed prior to this is going to continue to be a feature. If I've broken something that sucks, I'll fix it. But I'm not, at the moment, removing features, except, yeah, we have something to talk about. There is a feature that may get removed, and I'm really sad about it, and that would be multiplayer. Yeah, I don't want to remove multiplayer, but this has been a lot of work to do. And now that I've opened things up with the new spatial system, as you can see in the background over there, you can see the parallaxing of the planet and that asteroid. By the way, there's a hidden key location over there too. Um, there's just a tremendous amount of work to do, and a lot of AI, just tons of stuff going on. And it's so much work trying to keep things synchronized in a multiplayer setting. I'm just not sure that I can incorporate multiplayer into this too. There's also a whole nother feature that I haven't even started on yet, and I need to work on that too. And it's going to be a pain in the rear dealing with that in a multiplayer context. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I would love to have multiplayer in this. I think it would be a ton of fun. I've had really bad luck with it so far. A lot of the things you guys saw looked really nice, but there were just so many broken bits and pieces of multiplayer that I hid from you guys because it just wasn't ready for mainstream. And now they've just compounded, and all these new features and everything. I don't think it's feasible, but that's okay. We'll make the best out of what we can. I think it's going to be a solid single player experience though, for sure. And, if you want your friends in the game, I suppose you could always rename a pilot or something like that. Sure, it's not really them, but you can just tell them, hey, I just went on this adventure and I named a pilot after you. And they died because they got too close to a dataless battlecruiser, and I told them not to, but they did it anyway. So, yeah, there's that. In any case, we are getting lower to the planet, and you can see that it is coming along. Again, it's just a massive textured sphere. That's really all it is at the moment. What I was hoping to have, and I just didn't have the time to do it, maybe if time permits and things go well, I can put this in and then do another video, but I was hoping to actually throw a building on the ground so you could kind of get the idea for what I was going to be doing. But alas, yeah, I ran out of time, and I ran out of time again because of the spatial system. Did I lose a wing person? Nope, we're good. Okay. Yeah, I ran out of time because of the spatial system. There was just too much going on. A lot of bugs, really nasty bugs, a lot of just really weird things happening that I couldn't quite explain. And just having to go through and figure out why things were acting wonky, why, changing how the fly-to system worked, caused ships to not be able to dock anymore for whatever reason, even though they seemed like distinct issues. That took up a lot of time. So, alas, it did not work. But anyway, I think I'm going to end the video here. We can keep firing missiles. They look a little weird in the sunlight. I need to kind of fiddle with the exposure of things, but I don't know, it's still not too bad. I don't know if we're going towards the sunset or the sunrise because planets currently don't rotate, and I don't know if they ever will because there are some challenges with that too, but if I can get them to rotate, I'll make them rotate, trust me. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty awesome. Oh, if I hit F12, I can get rid of the UI and get a glamour shot going here. So, yeah. Basically, that's the state of things, and I hope you guys are enjoying the progress on this so far. I'm really excited about this. Again, I just do not feel like I'm confident enough to release a demo for it. I will do more videos more frequently now that I'm out of the hospital and kind of getting used to my new fun medical condition. I think I'll have some time to throw some more videos out there that I'm just really excited about. So thank you guys, and when I can get a demo out, I will. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.